Welcome back to the channel. My name is Just Meek and I'm on deck. Today I have to get this off my chest because I have been hearing ad nauseum the talk about Putin and Ukraine. I don't even know where to begin, but I have been listening to secular, corporate sponsored news, so-called alternative news, and Christian news. And everybody is pretty much saying the same thing. Putin wants to consolidate power. He is doing the same thing as Hitler is doing. I suppose nobody never listened to the man's speech. This is my whole gripe, and I hope I don't come off as a, they might call me a Nazi sympathizer. But going from a biblical Christian perspective, bringing your grievances, your issues before 2 or 3, and letting it weigh out between all parties. But this is not what's being done, because in the secular world, in the court of public opinion, once you have had a questionable past, anything you say, anything you do, that's how you will be judged. You can't change. You will be judged according to your past, as we've seen how they had done Trump. And I used to get on my coworker about that. He used to always say, oh, Trump is a pig. And I say the words of Jesus, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. I said, don't judge that man based on videos they pulled up 15, 20 years ago. That is not the same man today. But human nature, that's not how we are. We have the spirit naturally of Satan to be the accuser of the brethren. But anyway, back to Putin. Putin clearly stated in his speech on the 24th and on the 21st the reasons why he was going into Ukraine, but everybody has amnesia. The man clearly said because of the eastward expansion of NATO and because of what's going on in Donbass, if I'm pronouncing it right. For 8 years, 8 long years, these people have been persecuted because they do not want to put up with the government that has been set up for them. People seem to forget 2014 when Arab Spring was going on and the deep state players was going in all these countries in the Middle East. Egypt, Libya, Yemen, Jordan, putting in new puppet leaders. When they went in Iraq, what was all these leaders guilty of? Because they wanted to get rid of the petrodollar and deal with their own money with the oil. Deep state couldn't handle that. You know, this is why they're going so hard against Bitcoin and El Salvador, because they don't want competition. We heard Trump say numerous times that Ukraine was corrupt. Why is Ukraine corrupt? Because in 2014, they stirred up Ukraine. This is one of the deep state bases. They put in a puppet government. This is why these, how could I say it, popular senators and politicians' sons are sitting on the energy boards. Hunter Biden, Paul Pelosi, and John Kerry's son. Money laundering operation. Biolabs. Not only that, did you hear when Putin also said that when all of this stuff started, basically just like what's going on here, the jobs went away. People have to travel far to get a job. They have taken the people money. Millions of dollars is pouring in, but it's going into the pockets of these oligarchs, as he called them, the neo-Nazis. And if you dare speak out, like the people in Donbass who have been murdered, burned, persecuted for all these years, because they are refusing, because they want to stick with Russia. I even heard one person say, he's not just going to stop at Ukraine, he's going to take Crimea and this country and that country and all these little provinces. But the man clearly said he recognizes their independence. He has recognized it since the Soviet Union fell. And when I listened to the man speak, he spoke about old Russia. You heard him speak negatively about Lenin and Stalin and the Red Terror and the Bolsheviks. See, people don't know that these people are Jews. Let me do my quotes, because I call them cryptos. Leon Trotsky, Lev Bronstein, or Bronstein, that's his name. When all that was breaking up and he fled Russia, where did he come? He came to the United States. It is a known fact that the Bush family helped fund Hitler. And when World War II was going on, guess what? Certain American companies didn't get bombed. Ford, IG Farben, and a whole lot of other different little plants. But I don't blame the people, because they don't know the things that I'm saying. They only repeat what's been taught by government education. A lot of the things that I learned is from 2010, when I started studying into this, and it didn't even come by one to know what's going on in the geopolitical sphere. I was basically rededicating my life back to the Lord, and I got rebaptized, and I basically asked the Lord, how is the devil going to accomplish this new world, one world order? Now let's bring it back up to date to Putin and NATO. America using NATO and sparking up all these proxy wars through its so-called foreign policy. They are consolidating power. That is why all of these countries are joining NATO. But what did Putin say in 2000 when he met with Bill Clinton? He asked him, what do you think about me joining NATO? He said he never spoke about this until now. And what did he say? The look on Bill Clinton's face, he said, let me just say it was restrained. Why? Because we always need a boogeyman. Let me take you back to when they started talking about terrorism. Back in the early 1990s, we didn't have no terrorism in this country until they created an incident. What was that incident? The Oklahoma City bombing. I don't know if you ever seen the documentary A Noble Lie. Yes, people that start stumbling on things that just didn't make sense, just like 9/11, they came up dead. What about 9/11? All those people that had foreknowledge. Dick Gregory getting a phone call being told not to go to New York. You might not want to travel today to that area. You know, what about the 3 men that were standing up there with the video camera that they caught trying to leave in the airport? Where did they go? We see them later in Israel on a talk show telling what happened. So there's a lot of things that's going on that people that just don't even know about, you know. Now, I will eat all my words if Putin is not doing what he said he was going to do. Because they said that they wanted to decommunize. Decommunization. That's what they said. But I'm going to put it in my words. See, Putin is like, you guys are virtue signaling. If you want to decommunize, okay, let's decommunize. I'm going to denazify Ukraine. Because since those people have been put in place at the behest of America, because that's their money laundering country. Persecutions have been going on, and he said he just can't take it anymore, watching these people get persecuted like that. He had to step in and do something. But what was the red line that was drawn? I don't know if you saw the interview with Putin 3 years ago with Megyn Kelly. He was stating the same things. He tried everything, peace treaties, but America didn't want to stick with the peace treaty, the treaty of the ABM treaty, the air ballistic missiles. But they continued to build and do what they were doing. Meantime, racking up all these other little countries all around Russia. And he said the reason why they're doing this is because Russia is so vast, they have to break it up. I call them the deep state. Putin called them the dominant state. And that's what is going on. When they went into Syria, after they finished with Libya, they could not uproot Assad. Russia came in to help. Why? Because those rebels that's usually paid by dark money through our government and CIA was heading to Russia next. And he cut them off at the pass. So it's so funny to hear, even on the Christian channel, that they're trumpeting the same thing. But I don't blame them, because like I said, in the court of public opinion, when you have a shady past like Putin being a ex-KGB guy, maybe I'm being naive, but I'm looking at all the things that America has done in the past, present, and future. All the false flags that was created for a certain agenda. Just like, I believe it was Norman Rockefeller was telling Aaron Russo about the event that they had planned. And Aaron Russo thought it was horrible. And you know what Norman Rockefeller response was to him? What do you care, as long as your family is safe? That event was 9/11. See, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But people, for some reason, you know, Jesus told us to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Christians aren't being wise. They're not judging righteous judgment. Many Christians ran out and got the jab out of fear. If you love the Lord and you believe you saved, why are you afraid to die? Do you trust and believe in the Lord? Do you trust and believe if you do pass away, when you awake, you get resurrected, that you going to heaven? Out of fear, many of them went out there and took that vaccination. But anyway, guys, I had to come on here because I've been hearing this Putin-Ukraine stuff ad nauseum, and it's just irritating because of the short-term memory loss of all of these people, of what took place during Arab Spring. And for them to say that he is picking up where Hitler left off, is the pot calling the kettle black. Because this is what America is doing and being controlled by those hands behind the scenes, using our military to go fight the boogeyman that they set up, so they can consolidate all these countries in their new world, one world order. And when Putin started talking about the empire of lies, America, and the satellites around her being made in her image and likeness, it gave me chills, because I thought of Revelation chapter 13 verse 11 about that beast telling the others to make image to the beast that had fallen. and the wound was healed. If you know anything about prophecy, you know Daniel and Revelation go together. A beast represents a nation. When the Pope was captured, it received a deadly wound. When the light went out into the world and people was able to worship God according to the dictates of their conscience, that was a wound. That's why we are called Protestants today. They don't like that, didn't like that in the old world, because that was just Catholic, meaning universal, a one world religion. And they've been mad at America ever since, stirring up the Civil War. People failed to realize who came to Abraham Lincoln's aid. Russia. Tsar Alexander II. But the czars paid for that, didn't they? You remember the murder of the Romanov family? No more czars in Russia. I can go on and on. And this is the other thing Putin said. This agenda that they got going on in all these countries being made in the image of America and in this likeness, with this gender and the push of the homosexual agenda. Putin said, not in my country. It's not happening. But that's my words, but he said the degradation and the degeneration that is against. Ooh, I was cut off. Okay, let me finish that statement. He said, excuse me, he said the degradation and the degeneration of human nature was not going down in his country. America, virtue signaling with her fake values. I'm like, man, Putin is telling the truth. He is telling the truth. I don't see how so-called, let me not say so-called Christians. I don't see how people missed this. But you know how they missed it? Because the stigma that Putin has on him, they just automatically said he's speaking propaganda. Man, come on, you guys. Judge righteous judgment. People can say many things, but it's always what? Their actions. Just like the Bible say, faith without works is dead. When somebody tell you they hungry, what you supposed to do? Like I do. Here, let's go in the store. Let's get you something to eat. You know, not be ye warmed and filled and go about your merry way. No. That's not what the Lord teaches. You're supposed to help that person in need. I'm going to say this, and I'm getting ready to end because I know this video ran like 20 minutes. But what is a person to do? Let's just take Putin out the equation. What is a person to do when you keep trying to come up with all these solutions to help make the situation better so everybody can get along and be friends, and you get constantly denied, and they want to change the subject and be a hypocrite? You know, so what Putin is basically saying, so this treaty that America didn't want to continue to go by, this ABM treaty, this was way back in 2002. Come on now. That's 20 years. This man been petitioning for 20 years, and then you tell him he can't join NATO? Why? Come on, my brothers and sisters, my Christian brothers and sisters. New World Order, they're consolidating through this NATO. Come on, League of Nations, come on. You know what's going on. Put on your thinking caps. I don't know how it's all going to unfold, but like I said, you can't trust what the media is saying. You know, people with their short-term memory. How many times has the media put up fake pictures and said this is going on and this is going on? And then we come to find out, man, that picture was from 2012. That picture was from this. Oh, that video footage is from a video game. And these are reports that I have been hearing, what we have been witnessing. But every time they show the city of the Capitol, it don't look like nothing is going on. But strategic strikes have been going on. See, we have been setting up these Tomahawk missiles that can get to Russia within 35 minutes, some 5 to 7 minutes. Wouldn't you feel threatened? What else can you do when nobody wants to listen to you? And you just keep sitting by year, keep trying to petition these people. And they steadily adding all these countries around you, making them their allies, meaning you the only one out there by yourself, an island, the enemy, because they keep telling us Russia is the enemy. And what do we keep hearing? Trump is in bed with Russia. Putin is his friend. Trump said, why do we have to be enemies? Why can't everybody get along? He did the opposite of what they projected on him. He went and made peace. The man was nominated for 5 Nobel Peace Prizes. But what is Biden doing? The complete opposite. Because they project what they doing. What did Hillary Clinton get caught doing? Spying. The whole time. Trump is lying. Trump is lying. But the truth, see, what's done in the dark, as the Bible says, will always be brought to the light. So that's what I'm expecting out of this. Because I even heard today that one of these oligarchs, neo-Nazis, was trying to escape Russia and get somewhere. See, they know what's going down. They getting ran out of there. And I hear some people in the Christian community laugh like, a communist been getting ready to denazify? Yeah, right, that's propaganda. You didn't sit there and listen to that man talk for an hour and a half. An hour on one day and about a good 30, 40 minutes on another day. Did you consider everything that the man was saying? The man spoke the truth. But anyway, like I said, I'm not a geopolitical expert. As Putin said, as he kept petitioning, he said, as they say, we got played. Go and listen to that man's speech. Matter of fact, let me just show you some of it, because it was so good, I couldn't stop listening. Matter of fact, I'll just read you this little section right here. It says, in these circumstances, we have to take bold and immediate action. The People's Republic of Donbass have asked Russia for help. In this context, in accordance with Article 51, Chapter 7 of the UN Charter, with permission of Russia's Federation Council and in execution of the treaties of friendship and mutual assistance with the Donetsk People's Republic and the Lugansk People's Republic, ratified by the Federal Assembly on February 22nd. I made a decision to carry out special military operations. He is not invading Ukraine to take Ukraine. The purpose of this operation is to protect the people who, for 8 years, have been facing humiliation and genocide perpetrated by the Kiev regime. Who put this regime in? Go back to 2014. We did. The empire of lies. And don't get it confused. I'm a military veteran. I love my country. But you got to say what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And we know America has been doing dirty stuff for years, since we have been infiltrated. To this end, we will seek to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine, as well as bring to trial those who perpetrated the numerous bloody crimes against civilians, including citizens of the Russian Federation. Why was they being persecuted? Because they didn't want to accept that regime that was put in place by us. Just like he said, they sent terrorists in there. You know, what I'm curious to see what's going to happen after this whole Afghanistan debacle, because a whole lot of people got on that plane that was not vetted. So what you think we got here quietly sleeping and waiting for their orders? It says, it is not our plan to occupy the Ukrainian territory. We do not intend to impose anything on anyone by force. At the same time, we have been hearing an increasing number of statements coming from the West, that's us, the propaganda machine, that there is no need anymore to abide by the documents setting forth the outcomes of World War II as signed by the totalitarian Soviet regime. So see, America, again, telling him no longer needed to abide by these treaties. How can we respond to that, he says? The outcomes of World War II and the sacrifices our people had to make to defeat Nazism are sacred. This does not contradict the high values of human rights and freedoms and the reality that emerged over the post-war decades. This does not mean that nations cannot enjoy the right of self-determination, which is enshrined in Article 1 of the UN Charter. Let me remind you that people living in territories which is part of today's Ukraine, we're not asked how they want to build their lives when USSR was created or after World War II. Freedom guides our policy. We believe that all people living today's Ukraine, anyone who wants to do this, must be able to enjoy the right to make a free choice. But people say that's all propaganda because Putin is ex-KGB. He's well-trained KGB. You can't trust what he's saying. In this context, I would like to address the people of Ukraine. In 2014, Russia was obliged to protect the people of Crimea, Sevastopol, from those who yourself called Nats. The people of Crimea and Sevastopol made their choice in favor of being with their historical homeland, Russia. So, see, somebody misspoke today, said he gonna take Crimea. They already made the choice to be with Russia. It's crazy. People need to go back and read. Well, I guess they can't read. I took the time to actually sit there and transcribe this whole speech because it was just unbelievable. It was just incredible when he started talking about all of these things that took place in the past that was done by us. Like the hypocrisy, the pot calling the kettle black. When we went into Iraq, weapons of mass destruction, holding up a vow before the world. And then come to find out it was no weapons of mass destruction. And you see George Bush later, I can't remember what show he's on, he making a joke. No weapons of mass destruction under here. You know. Okay, you guys, I guess I ran on enough. So let me end this video. Come on. I need you guys not to fall in line with the norm or the bandwagon, the generally accepted opinions or beliefs. We need to think for ourselves and do our own homework and educate ourselves. And that's how I'm going to end it. And I will see you on the next one. God bless.